J-E-T-S,
Good job today, man. It's one at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
and the home of the Jets.
Mr. Primetime.
This may be the happiest you see me all year on stream.
Finally, wait, we're going to get rid of our... No way.
The Mets are the only 20-win team in baseball. The Knicks are rolling, and the Jets just had on paper, a successful draft weekend. So I'm feeling good.
My goodness. There is a pig flying somewhere right now.
It's only downhill from here, though.
So what's up, everybody? The NFL draft has come and gone, and now we will share our uneducated thoughts to rattle some cages. And it's so funny. It's like if you're objective and just say, like, you give your honest opinion, bro, you're just too negative. If you say everything is great, you're a fanboy and you're a jerk. It's like there's no winning for this at all. There's no winning.
I was down that path with Aaron Glenn. I'm not going to do that tonight because I'm feeling a little more optimistic about what they did. So I'm feeling
welcome aboard, my friend. Welcome aboard. Welcome.
Just for tonight. Just for tonight. This is a one-night thing. Don't get used to it.
Now look at this nice comment to start the show. He's a phenomenal content creator person. I'm a person, no less.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. And thank you to everybody that the best thing about going on other shows, dude, is like the chat. You see the chat, whoever it is, it starts to slowly change. Like people from our channel go in there and the comments are hysterical. And they're just like, they're not used to like our sense of humor. Dude, it's so friggin' funny. So thank you to everybody that offered their words of wisdom and comments. It was absolutely hysterical. I was dying. Oh my God. You see what's it? Tyrod Taylor pop in the chat, Justin Fields.
I love when the players show up. That's the best.
It's just so funny. So Gangrene David bringing in the negativity. What are we doing here?
Whoa, he's changed a lot. He's probably become more negative than I've been. That's a big change.
1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey.
That's a good one.
Man, he travels a lot though.
You know,
Primetime is doing a very good job with his videos. He's all like, subtitles and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not. There's levels to this. I'm not on that level anymore. I'm just more the lazy content creator now.
Had time on my hands.
One hand.
Damn. We're 3 minutes in. That's a low blow. Shit.
So the draft has come and gone. We will share our thoughts. I shared the link in here if you want to talk about it. Overall, I liked it, man. It was interesting to see what their mindset was going to be going into it. But early on, I wanted just friggin' offense, dude. Offensive line, tight end, receiver. Then anything else after that, obviously a defensive tackle would be nice. But to me, it's like make Justin Fields the best quarterback he can be. Step one is offensive line. They get Membu. Dude, I thought it was great. I loved it.
Help out your offensive coordinator, build the ground game, help develop your quarterback. And I keep saying, whether it's Fields or your next guy, now you have a brick wall in front of them. And you got 4 guys that are 25 years old or younger, which I keep saying, like 2 tackles potentially for the next 10 years. That's how you ultimately build an offense. So I'm glad they're getting back to that. Love Membu.
And the thing I was worried about the most is if they went Tyler Warren or say Ted McMillan in round 1, what would have been the tackles available in round 2? And you look how this draft played out, the market was slim there, dude. It wasn't like this worked out in their favor where it's like you would have been really scrambling them and be like, all right, now we need a project guy at right tackle. Hopefully Carter Warren steps up for Max Mitchell. So the way they played out for them, especially at right tackle, makes you feel good. And then the offensive line, you have confidence in, dude. Like the potential of this line, with the caveat is if they're coached well, they could be a bunch of ballers, dude.
Coach well and stay healthy.
Yep.
AVT being a big piece of that too.
100%. But there's the potential there. And like you said, you have bookend tackles that are 21 years old. It's like it's crazy.
And then when does it ever happen that like the first 2 players that are so often mocked to the Jets that they actually went in that direction?
Yep. No, I was shocked, dude. I was like, all right. And they were starting to fall. I'm like, all right, this is getting interesting. I'm like, now this is cool. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah, no, perfect. Both rounds.
And then so you go to the next pick, Mason Taylor, which is just you want a tight end. Obviously, he's not Tyler Warren, but he's still a very good player. He's an all-around player. You know, great bloodlines. Jason Taylor's his father, but dude, he can do it all. And the thing is, like, everybody focuses on what they did in college.
Yeah.
We got to understand they should get better in the pros. Like, they're still growing into their bodies, they're growing into their game, they're going to develop. They become much better than they actually are now. So he's a day one starter that could do a lot in this offense. Safety valve for Justin Fields. You know, big target, all kinds of stuff, man.
He's young too. He's young too. Get him in a real strength and conditioning program. The shit he's going to do in 2 to 3 years. Yep. I mean, strong hands, reliable target underneath, willing blocker, checks off every box. Might take another year or two to get to his full potential, but that's fine. The Jets are kind of a rebuilding team, if we're being honest. So,
and you have a whole young core growing together. Minus even Justin Fields is young, for being honest. Like, but they're all like, you know, you have all these young pieces growing up together. Perfect. That's how you have your young nucleus. You establish your leaders. You establish your culture with all all the captains and the leaders and the high work ethic, all that stuff. It's different, man.
No, that's how you set the tone, how you set the culture that you want. That's what you got to do, man.
Especially when you have the head coach who's kind of demanding and like, listen, the thing about this is what I like about Aaron Glenn the most is he could talk in detail about the players. It's not like you get some fluff from some head coaches. Like, as a former scout, you know, like, this is his team. There is no, like, there's not going to be a point where, like, well, Muji gave me this guy. No. We know all these players were handpicked by you. Muji helped you, but this is his team. There'd be no scapegoats but you, bro. Like, this is I like that. He gives the detailed analysis of the player, their potential flaws, and how they want to handle them. Bro, that makes you feel a little bit better about, you know, first-time head coach.
I think he's showing he's not afraid to do things his way. So,
bro, I love it. I absolutely loved it. Now, the next pick, if we're being completely transparent, not negative, just transparent. Round three, I was like wide receiver, defensive tackle. I'm like, this is where I'm going to go. So then the pick comes up, and I'm like, corner. Of all the positions of need for the Jets, I'm like, all right, you got Michael Carter, you got Sauce, you signed Brandon Stevens. So your initial reaction is like, all right, he's a press corner, he's not a safety. So we moved Brandon Stevens to safety, kind of high paid, but restructuring your secondary. Then you're also thinking, you know what, this is a piece for this year, but also the future too. So it's like you look at the player, the talent, and Aaron Glenn absolutely loves him. And as a former corner and a defensive guy, you got to buy into that as well. Did the pick surprise you at all?
It did. I was screaming for Jalen Noel or some receiver there. I thought that would have been perfect. I wanted them to double up at receiver. But again, you got to assume that Glenn at least saw something on tape that figures this is a guy that I could work with, mold into a future starter down the line. For now, he fills in nice as a backup behind Stevens. So I like it. Big press corner, physical, doesn't have the great kind of speed that you want, but seems like a good football IQ leader kind of guy. So I like it.
And the other thing too, even Aaron Glenn mentioned, he's like, he saw it firsthand in Detroit last year when injuries start piling up. Who's your next man up? And how much do you drop off when you have your depth guys? And we don't know how they evaluate guys like Stiggers or whoever else. Like, they may be like, listen, these guys are okay, but they don't fit our scheme. They don't play the style we want. So now you're having your depth and your other like pieces here. So it caught me by surprise. But the more you talk about the player and you figure out what he does, you're like, all right, I understand it. And then you put your faith in, all right, Glenn knows what he wants with Wilkes in this defense. This kid's going to be a playmaker.
Definitely an Aaron Glenn guy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Now, the next pick was interesting because you're looking at now, I'm like, you got to go wide receiver. You have to go wide receiver. I'm thinking they probably, they had guys on the board they wanted that are probably already taken at this point. So they take Arian Smith, and the first thing everybody says, oh, he led college in drops. And then I think Charles Robinson's like, better get him on a jugs machine. But then you see what they do want is that world-class speed where he's a legit game-breaking talent that can just blow the – he can just take it anytime you wanted to. Then you see John Gruden's video talking about he's a sleeper of the draft. So you see the potential. You see what they want out of him. They just got to fix the drops, which is the big issue. That's coaching, though. And
the injuries as well. 4 major injuries, 3 surgeries. Obviously, he has to prove that he could stay on the field. Yes, has to clean up the drops. But if he ever reaches that potential, that is a fucking steal in round 4. So if you're going off upside and just, pure athletic ability, potential for a home run there. So I don't mind the thinking with that pick.
And I like what Aaron Glenn talked about. He's like, when Jameson Williams first went to the Lions, he had a drop issue too. And they worked with him endlessly. And he said, this kid has the same work ethic. He knows he's self-aware of his problems. He knows what he's doing wrong, and he's adamant about fixing it. And Aaron Glenn watched Jameson Williams do it. So he has experience of a wide receiver going through this and the speed, dude. Like, the Jets haven't had speed like that. I mean, who's the last guy? Like, I couldn't even tell you. Steve, maybe not Stephen Hill. Who is like
David Clowney.
But I mean, that's something, man. If you could have a guy like that can be consistent, you have Mason Taylor in the middle, Garrett on one side.
Not only that, I mean, he complements what you have right now with, Josh Reynolds and Alan Lazard, who are more blocking type receivers. So I think he could fit in well.
Interesting. So then you're going after that. So now I'm like, all right, you have the wide receiver, you have your tight end, you have your. So now I'm like, it's got to be defensive line. I kept thinking that, or maybe linebacker. I was waiting for the tackle, the run stuffing tackle. Then they go out and they trade up. I'm like, all right, we're talking business now for a safety, Malachi Moore. Surprised?
Very. I actually thought they might go with a running back too, with all the whispers about Breece Hall. Didn't know if at some point they would look for a running back. I thought there were some good ones on the board. I think Sampson was still there. Maybe Jaden Blue, that pick, or the one before it. So I thought they might go running back. Definitely thought they'd get a defensive tackle at some point. But I think Moore's a good player. Not great size, not great speed, but seems like a good football IQ. He's got to know the playbook kind of guy. Better in coverage than he is run support. So got some tools to work with.
And it's interesting to see, like, you're trying to figure out what's the vision for the secondary because you're adding a lot of athletes, a lot of guys at range, some big hitters. Like, you almost think, like, Tony Adams could be the odd man out, I think, right at this point, right? He's
over Isaiah Oliver?
Yeah, I mean, you're adding a lot of talent here, man. And I don't know. It's interesting to see how they can put this all together. But it's a lot of it's like you're rebuilding it. And again, this is their vision, their team, the kind of players they want in their mold. So I get it. It's just interesting to see how they do it, especially with Brandon Stevens, man. I'm like I don't. It's almost like
That's what's so confusing about the Thomas pick.
Yeah.
If they really truly believed in their investment there, are they taking a cornerback that high, or did they just see the value in Thomas? I don't know.
Yeah, it just seems like it's I don't know. It's weird. Like, I'm not saying they mishandled their free agency, but it seems like it's a weird match for it, unless he does play safety. I don't know. So after that, we go linebacker, back-to-back Miami kids. A linebacker who is just an absolute headhunter, which is awesome. What do you think about the linebacker pick?
Seems like he has good size, has some untapped, pass rushing potential. I know he's got a lot of experience on special teams.
Yep.
Figures to back up behind Sherwood at Mike linebacker. So decent pick there. Thought there were other needs, but didn't mind it.
Yeah, I was, and this, I guess the last like 5, 6, and 7, you're like, all right, you take a developmental player, but they got to be an asset on special teams. They've got to be contributors, your gunners, all these wedge blockers or anything like that to have your impact there. And then hopefully in 2 to 3 years, they become a starter or they become a really good role player. Like, this is where I'll keep saying it. Like, the way the Jets handled this, I guess from probably most teams, is they're putting a premium on coaching, dude. They really seem like they have guys with a lot of talent, a lot of ability, but they need some kind of, maybe some, not nurturing, but some molding and development. And they're like, and Aaron, like you were saying, we know what we got. It's up to us to make them better.
What you just described is also the Sherwood path, and that was without great coaching. So look how he ultimately developed. So you can find some good linebackers late.
No, I agree. So you have these guys now where it's like, they may not be ready day one, but 2 years from now, if they can step in for somebody else, it's a win. Like, you hope to get 3 impact players this year, and as it plays out, maybe add one or two more, and the draft's a home run. You've done a good job then. Yeah.
Better than past drafts.
What's up, Val? Valen's, dude, Valen's crazy, bro. He's crazy. He's a mad tipper. He's wild.
What did he do?
He gave a $500 tip to Ian.
Holy shit.
I'm like, dude, the kid started crying almost. Like, what the hell? It's crazy. Val, you're way too generous, man. It's crazy.
Beast.
Yeah, wild. And then the last pick, they ended up with an edge, which, that I don't mind that at all, dude. If you can find any kind of pass rusher anywhere, go for it, especially with this kind of defensive staff. Worth a shot. I don't, at that point, I'm not giving analysis on. I don't know who he is, but it's just like, I like a swing there. Was almost kind of wondering if they were going to go quarterback at some point, like 6 or 7.
Well, they got Brady Cook undrafted, so.
True, but do you think yeah, that's true. But do you think they didn't go quarterback in an effort to give Jordan Travis like that shot, saying, listen, we have our project quarterback. It's him.
They must believe, I guess, medically that he's taken a lot of steps from wherever he was at last year.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Otherwise, that or they're just really high on, what was out there undrafted with Cook and whoever else they possibly targeted.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I was like, all right, this was interesting way of handling that. That and defensive tackle, I was really interested about the quarterback position.
Did you want them to swing it all on Sanders round 4, round 5?
Nope, no interest.
That had like Tim Tebow written all over it for me. I'm nope, don't do this. Unnecessary distraction. Do not go down that path. And
we just got rid of the circus. We got rid of all the antics, the drama, the social media nonsense. We got rid
of Ulbrich too.
Yeah, We found the leak.
Right?
Leaves his laptop open. But yeah, no, I like listen, I respect Shador. I have no ill will towards him whatsoever. But I think for the Jets where they're at right now and their culture trying to establish, like to me, he should have went to a team that have very established coach in place with like a Mike Tomlin, Pete Carroll, guys like that have been there, done that, won't take no shit. Stefanski's established too, but having Aaron Glenn as a first timer, I think it would have been way too much, man. I wouldn't have been a fan of that.
No, definitely. And then you'd have people screaming not to take a quarterback next year because they believe in him. And
no, they're in a good spot right now, dude. They are like, and the whole key was this: like, you're adding pieces to your puzzle. So if Justin Fields doesn't play out, the date doesn't work out next year, the quarterback you add to this team already has a lot of weapons around him. So it's not like, well, he's got to rebuild, but he's got nobody. No, you're giving him pieces. You're gonna have, Garrett, Brees, Mason. Like you have an offensive line that's gonna kick ass.
That's more important to me than what they have right now, as far as anything opposite Garrett Wilson. I don't know if Brees Hall is going to be here. We don't really know exactly what Malachi Corley is.
Yep.
A lot unproven other than Garrett Wilson. So.
But if you have a young quarterback in front of a great offensive line, we saw Mark Sanchez.
Yep.
It gives you a chance to compete, right? And I think Justin Fields right now is going to be like, listen, you're in a prime position to do good things because you're going to have a lot of things around you, assuming that Engstrand can do a good scheme and they can coach him up. But it's a lot of pieces in place to be competitive this year.
Hell yeah.
Now, were there any undrafted free agents you liked? I saw the list. I've been so busy at work that I haven't seen a lot of it. I saw some of the players.
Well, the kicker, Caden Davis, apparently he had a good rep. I'm sure Random Man will be on to talk special teams with us about that. The tackle out of Germany, I saw that he out bench pressed everybody. So I'm like, all right, he's a big fucking dude. And you get to keep an extra guy on your practice squad too for like the international pathway program or whatever they do. So that's not even going to take up a roster spot, so they can develop him for a year or two. One of the receivers, I think, had some nice speed potential. The kid out of Rutgers, I forget his name.
Oh yeah. I saw that too.
Yeah. So
now, are there any free agents? I was kind of bummed out by two things. That Tyler Lockett went to the Titans. That was before the draft. I was kind of hoping they can get him. I think Robert Woods signed today somewhere. And the thing is, they're not big contracts, dude. It's like $2 million, $3 million. I'm like, I'm getting greedy now. Like Alan Lazard to me, we know what Alan Lazard is. Like, give me that one other veteran receiver that I know we can trust. I feel a lot better.
Or are those guys going to wait for better opportunities, wait closer to training camp for injuries to happen, things like that? And where are the Jets at cap-wise right now also? We need Aframon. Yeah,
well, I think once June comes around, they're going to have all kinds of space, I think, right? But I mean, these contracts aren't big, dude. It's like $2 million, $3 million. I'm like, all right, that and defensive line. Give me now the question I have for you is, do you think they're, I don't want to say ignoring, are they being cautious with the offensive line because you have Leonard Taylor? You have a lot of young guys last year everybody loved that you got to figure with better coaching could have a bigger – because Leonard Taylor played well last year, dude, in limited reps. You saw some things. You have an NFL offseason to get bigger, stronger, better coaching.
And you got Eric Watts. You got McGregor.
McGregor.
Maybe you give these guys another chance. I mean, I'm not thrilled with the defensive line. I just felt like there were more pressing needs that they went after that I'm glad they did. And you hope that Aaron Glenn can get more out of less on the defensive side.
So now, overall, the roster, there's still a lot of things that are happening. You're making more moves, free agent moves, the June 1 cuts, everything like that, training camp moves. What is your feeling on the roster now, like as where it started when they first got here to where it is now?
Still, they have a long way to go. It's a rebuilding process in my mind, just from the standpoint it's a first-time head coach, first-time coordinator, a quarterback that's going to be learning a new system and still trying to kind of rebuild himself in a way. So I think the team is still young. But when you look at what this offensive line should be in 2 to 3 years, if Garrett Wilson ends up staying here long term, if something works out with Brees Hall, if Jermaine Johnson stays healthy, we don't know what's going to happen with Quincy Williams. Like there's so many different ifs right now. On paper, if they're coached well, I could see them maybe being a 7-8 win team. I still kind of feel like more likely than not, if we don't get that elite Justin Fields, they're probably in the 5 to 6 win range. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think, a lot of it's on coaching, but I think with that offensive line, running the ball, I think they're going to be competitive, dude. I do, like 7-8 wins and anything can happen. But I think they're going to play football we'll be proud of. They're going to play physical. They're going to be nasty. They're going to maul people. And that's something like they're going to be tenacious. Like that's a whole different thing we haven't really seen. This team's been soft from time to time. They start out flat. They are flat. There's no passion, no pride, and they get their asses kicked. I think you're going to see a lot of fight out of this team because he's going to demand it, to be honest with you. He's probably not going to accept anything less.
I'm curious to see what happens down the stretch. If they are, at that 6-win range and guys aren't playing for anything meaningful in December, are they still giving that effort or are they already checked out? Does Aaron Glenn actually keep their attention and keep them working for him?
Well, yeah, and I'm curious too now is like now that all this is done, do they get deals done with Sauce, Garrett Wilson, Quincy Williams? Because now you know what your roster pretty much is, and you got to look to the future as well. But listen, let's try to see what we can get cleaned up before next year, before contract demands come in. I mean, Quincy has all the right in the world to say something at this point. He's completely outplayed his contract. So I'm curious to see how they handle it. I don't think anything happens with Brees. I don't think they trade him, but I don't think they pay him either.
No.
But I'm wondering if they do that because it's going to do two things. They kept Sherwood, but if you lock up like Sauce or Garrett, that's more like into the locker room. Like, listen, they talked about keeping our young players. They're doing that slowly but surely. I think that buys in some wiggle room too.
No, those guys are supposed to be, in theory, the faces of your franchise. So I think it would send a nice message. I just don't think you're going to get any kind of discount from either of them.
Nope.
So
no, I don't blame them. That's the NFL, dude. They don't. I mean, that's the way it works. So we will go to callers. You want to call in, share your thoughts on the Jets draft? I'm excited. I'm more excited to just get. I want to get training camp, dude. Like I just do. I want training. I want like pads to see because like the mandatory mini camp is cool, but it's nothing, dude. It's like t-shirts and shorts and everybody jumps around and stuff. But
this is the real like long wait.
This is brutal.
We have some stuff usually to talk about with free agency and then the draft, and then this is where it gets bad.
Yep. What we expect from the Jets is always the opposite. Well, I was getting encouraged because at one point people started to hate the draft. I'm like, you know what? If everybody's hating it, I feel good because we're probably all wrong like we usually are, and it's probably a good draft. These are probably good players, right? Because we praised everything Joe Douglas did. We found every way to justify every move Joe Douglas did, and pretty much every one of them sucked. So it's just like this could be.
That also worries me about the first two picks because a lot of people wanted Membu and Taylor.
I like Taylor a lot, dude. I do. It's like that's such an asset to this offense that we never had. I mean, Conklin had the ability, but the quarterback couldn't get him the ball. Or the offense just blew. But I mean, there's a chance. So
I don't trust Ruckert either with a significant role, at least not yet.
Come on, Tyson. 7 or 8 wins after the last 2 years. I can't continue to be optimistic year after year. So then don't watch. Problem solved.
I mean, that's kind of a realistic bar, though. I mean, 7-8 wins.
7-8 wins, and it's an improvement of what we watched the last few years. It's sad as it is, but that's an improvement.
It's not going to get me real excited in the moment, but it all depends on how they play, though. Are they competitive against good teams? Like, 100%. Is their effort down the stretch? Are young guys improving? That shit matters to me more.
Bro, if they come out and you could tell they're well coached and prepared and they're losing to better teams, but they're competing, that's a step up because many times we don't look prepared. We didn't look prepared. And you could see like the blocking schemes were terrible. Guys are running in free, no adjustments. You could see like they were just didn't know their ass from their elbow. And they started quitting on it. We could see pretty much early on, all right, so we've seen all the red flags from head coaches in their first year. We see all the problems that they have. So we'll know, so I'm curious, man. I think 7-8 wins is realistic. I really do. I don't think it's crazy. And then you get some luck finally from the Jets, maybe 9.
Now you're pushing. Now you're pushing.
I'm not. Look, Larry's with me. Come on, primetime. Come to this side.
Not there yet.
It's more fun on this side. What would they have to do to get you to believe 9 wins?
It would take actually being on the field and seeing Justin Fields take that step and become kind of an elite quarterback.
What they signed Amari Cooper?
I don't think that would do a whole lot.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited because it's a whole new era, a lot of young players, a lot of new athletes, and I'm just curious to see how it all plays out. But I think it's going to be interesting, man. There's pieces in place we can actually buy into it and not sell ourselves like, well, if Ruckert does this, I think Mason Taylor's a legitimate guy. And this could bring out more out of Ruckert, too, with competition. Be like, you know what? This job's not being handed to you, dude. You got to earn it. And maybe they can get something out of him now.
We're just giving like a more decisive role. I mean, see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Go to calls. What's up, Blade?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Don't bring your negative bullshit tonight, dude.
Well, I only got a little bit negative. I'm sorry.
Start with the positives.
So I do this thing every year on the draft, done since like 2018. I put it kind of in my notes that like who is on the board at the time and like who I would have taken.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the first 2 picks, I loved it. Makes total sense. I would have done the exact same thing, the exact same players. And then round 3, or let me just kind of pull it up. So the Thomas picks. What was that? Sorry.
I said you got notes. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So the Thomas pick, it kind of sucks for the player because if it wasn't for Stevens, I would have loved the pick. Paying Stevens and drafting him made just kind of no sense and also, does that make Michael Carter short for this team? That's what I'm kind of thinking, because he was a solid guy and he's more of a zone player, not really a press man player. Just kind of something to think about, right?
He's making big money.
I think Carter's safe.
Yeah, but you try to trade him like that, like it would make sense if that's the vision for them. I'm saying like I wouldn't, but that's it. I hate paying Stevens and drafting a guy this high, because that third round it could have been a player. So a guy I really liked was Xavier Watson. You could probably speak to that guy, Tyson, because dude, he's a ball hawker. Would have been sick on the back end, I think. I mean, that's who I would have taken, was Xavier Watts or the Shaquan Revel Jr. He was another corner if they were dead set on corner, but he tore his ACL. That's why he slid. But it would make sense to draft him because you have Stevens and you don't need to play him right away.
So do you think Stevens is going? You think Stevens is going to go to safety?
But then why would you draft Malachi Moore, right?
Yep, that's where I got confused.
Yeah, and I think Malachi Moore competes with Tony Adams for that other safety spot. So that's why I think it sucks wasting that third round pick for a guy that's going to sit on the bench or sub in a little bit. And if Steven struggles, you play him a little bit. That's why I would have liked Xavier Watts there.
Yeah, I like Xavier Watts too. But I guess you look at it, he's a great insurance policy. If one of these guys gets hurt, he could be your corner. And then it's like he could be a guy for the future too. If Stevens doesn't work out this year, you know what? Maybe you got to move on from him. He's plug and play, so it's like could be a chess piece. But I'm in the same boat you're in, dude. I was like, all right, I didn't like it at first. I'm like, oh, easy. Move Stevens to safety, we're good. Then you get Malachi Moore, and I'm like, now it's like a surplus. Like we have a lot of pieces.
Yeah,
it was kind of confusing.
It's super weird how they handled this back end in this draft, because that's not where I thought the weaknesses were really on defense. I thought you needed maybe one guy to play safety, and then I would have like bolstered like the interior defensive tackle or like a better backup linebacker. I would have just got like a Xavier Watts in the third and then called my defense done and then went after offense.
All right, so 2 to 3 you like. Then in the fourth round, what'd you think?
So fourth round, so I have the Arian Smith. I thought it was a huge reach based off where everyone thought he was going to get drafted. I understand he's going to be the speed piece, the Jameson Williams in this offense. I would have taken guys like CJ West or Billy Bowman, or I actually had Malachi Moore here. So Billy Bowman's a safety out of Oklahoma. Malachi Moore's a safety, the safety we drafted later. So I just did all these live, right? And CJ West is a big, kind of fatty defensive tackle guy, space eater. I liked that there. So I just thought it was kind of a too cute of a pick for where he was drafted, because I looked up kind of where everyone's had him drafted. It was like he was a 6th round undrafted free agent kind of guy. But I mean, have conviction.
You don't think the upside is worth it though?
What was it? Yeah, I mean, and then I watched the press conference and I saw that Muji said that speedsters were starting to come off the board. So I kind of get why they did it. And he was a top 30 visit. So I mean, I get it, but it's not the route I would have gone. This is how it's kind of fun to see who you like, right?
Yep.
And because I had I had Trey Smith going in the 5th round, and he's the guard for Kansas City, right?
Yep.
And so it's kind of fun just to see. I mean, I understand why they did it, but just not the route I would have done.
And I like that they had conviction too, where they're like, this is the player we cover, this is the player we want. We're gonna take him. Like, we don't give a shit about you think it's a 6th round, he's 7th round. This is the guy we want, and that's it. And they stay true to the board, So it's we'll see how they evaluate players, but that kind of speed is something they desperately need on this offense, dude. So I understand the fit with it for sure.
And then so you have just a JMO package. If you so we've all kind of just watched the Lions in the playoffs. They had, when they played San Francisco in the NFC Championship game, they had like 3 plays where they just had him running deep. That's all he did. So we're just gonna have a package, I bet, where he has 5 plays, just run deep, and you're the first option. That's what I bet we'll have him do for this offense, which is fine.
You know how many times we said do that with Gibson and other guys? The Jets used to have speed guys. We never used them. Like, take the shot downfield. We know Justin Fields can throw it downfield. There's no doubt about that. So use that. Use that asset. Why not? It can't hurt.
That's breaking
Yeah.
the mold of Salah, who's stubborn, trying to have the receivers learn the X, the Y, the Z. You got to do everything. Like, no, like carve out a role for him for what he does well.
And actually use
Right.
them. Like, there's an idea.
and actually use them. Yep. And as long as he's not the Malachi just gets stuck in the doghouse and we actually play him, like I get it. That's their receiver, not the guy I would have drafted, but I understand. I understand their vision. Is all I'm saying.
So you want him? See, now you would have reached for Malachi Moore because you want him in that round, and you went a round later.
No, Malachi Moore was in the 4th round still. He was later in the round.
Yeah, but I'm saying you would have got him earlier on. Then we got him later.
Yeah, I would have drafted Malachi Moore that pick. I had C.J. West, Billy Bowman, who's another safety, and then Malachi Moore. Is other people I would have taken.
Okay.
And then that next 4th round pick, dude, you guys are gonna hate me for this, but I would have taken Shador. I don't, dude,
Why?
that talent there,
Why?
I would have
Why?
taken him because here's my thing with I get wait until next year for your quarterback, but we're gonna do the 2018 draft again. We're gonna pass on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes to go draft Sam Darnold. Know what I mean? It's like and
Isn't that
also
more likely to happen though if they draft Shador and they're intrigued by whatever they see in year one, and it's not actually franchise quarterback level stuff?
and then it's a 4th round pick. You can cut him. It doesn't cost you anything to cut him.
Yeah.
But I mean,
This has
to
like
me,
Hackenberg / Tebow written all over it for me if they didn't know.
Hackenberg had none of the production or winning like Shador did.
Hey,
to
Primetime,
me,
I got a question though. If somebody's gonna try to insult you, shouldn't they at least have proper grammar? At least spell the words right. Fields doesn't throw deep. I guess he can't. Now he has no arm strength. Know your personal. That sounds kind of personal. Primetime. What do you think?
A little bit
It's
personal.
very personal.
I'll work on my personnel knowledge if you want, but Fields can throw deep though. That's just incorrect.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he can throw a deep ball.
It's not a problem. But you wouldn't be worried about the whole Shador, everything he brings to the building when you're trying to establish a new culture, new leadership, get rid of all the circus-like stuff. It's a lot to ask, dude.
Isn't that why we hired Aaron Glenn to get rid of because he doesn't care about the bullshit? I mean, that would see
Is that
how
why
he
they got rid
handles
of
the New York
Rodgers?
media.
Part of got rid of Rodgers, exactly.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just for the best bang for your buck, big board. That's who I would have taken, and maybe he lurks out to be your long term quarterback. And Fields has to compete anyway, right?
Yep.
So if Field beats him out, whatever, and then you just cut him next year and draft quarterback anyway.
Or you
But I
have
like it.
or you have a nice player that you can keep next year and keep playing that you're not going to cut, like a safety or wide receiver.
And Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's way above Jordan. The whole Shador Sanders thing was weird because for his ability he should not have been a 5th round pick.
Nope. Something
You agree on that?
but there's so many rumors though that he blew off interviews, did certain things. I don't know what to believe. I don't want to assume anything, but when every team passes on him, when it falls this far, it had to be something that was done that everybody was aware of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Time, it's something it's like
No, he definitely screwed up in interviews, dismissed teams, thought he was top 10 guaranteed, and probably didn't even put in some work in some of the interviews, and that's probably why he fell. You never see that kind of drop. A guy that's being talked about in the 1st round that goes all the way to round 5.
when teams covet quarterbacks.
Yeah,
He had to have really fucked up.
yeah, and knowing us, he's gonna be a stud. That's just our luck.
let's not go
Just
down
that's our
this
luck.
path. No, you know what our luck is? Justin Fields finally hits it, and we have our quarterback right now. Don't worry about Shador Sanders. That's our
Right.
luck is due.
Yeah, and then
He's not.
we don't even have to worry about taking a quarterback next year, right?
That's right.
That'd be sick. We just reload the offense, and next year, take the best wide receiver available.
Okay,
But
so what do you any thoughts on a linebacker or edge guy we got from Miami?
yeah, so the only thing I had on the 5th is those kind of picks are whatever, they're reaches. The only one I really was pounding the table for was Miles Frazier.
Oh yeah.
He's a interior lineman that can play from left guard, center, right guard. I thought he would have been the perfect guy to take over.
Yep.
Be that 6th man that comes in, and he fell late, and he was supposed to be a 3rd round guy. That's a guy I would have drafted. And then the Tyler Barron dude, I liked his inside versatility. The only thing I wrote down here is that I don't really understand what they're going to do with interior defensive line. It just kind of worries me a little bit.
Yep.
And who do we go sign? Like Zaire Smith? That would make sense off the edge from the Lions. He played for the Lions last year. Like that, it makes sense to go sign him. But all those are dart throws
there's
anyway.
Still moves to be made though. There's still some tricks up their sleeve, I'm assuming.
Any
Right.
undrafted free agents you really liked?
Yeah, so I had a bunch of guys that undrafted. So that I'm a Boise State fan, so I watched a lot of the Mountain West. So Nick Nash, I loved. He tore us up, and he went undrafted. He didn't go to us; he went to the Falcons. And then Tez Johnson, I watched him a lot, and he's someone I liked. But he went late to this. He went 7th to Tampa Bay. Bunch of guys I liked. I don't really know a whole lot about the people we've signed.
Yeah. So overall, you're walking away from this draft, and this draft and the first wave of free agency. How do you feel about this roster so far?
So I like it and I understand it. I just wish there was just a few. Just that the one thing that only really pisses me off is that 3rd round pick. I wish that was a starter.
Yep. That was the one. That was the one curveball. Like I understood it. I just would have went in a different direction.
Yeah, and if you didn't pay Stevens, it would make a ton of sense, and then we'd have $12 million a year, for the next 3 years.
Yep.
So I got plenty of fine.
Very good. Nah, the same thing I thought. Because you think like you spent money on Stevens, Michael Carter II is making a lot of money. Sauce can get paid big money. I'm like, all right. The corner wasn't in my wheelhouse of things I was looking for. Then I'm like, wait, what? Great press corner. That's great, but like, all right.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Dude, you could have got a
Stevens' contract
receiver
was
there.
only guaranteed for like the first 2 years.
Yeah,
right?
it is. Yep.
So.
Yep.
Right. Well, but it's still $12 million a year, and then we could have paid that to a receiver next year, or I don't know. I just don't love that contract especially because he's not a DJ Reed level player. He wasn't a stud. He struggled bad last year, and we're hoping that coaching turns him around.
Too, though. So did Cisco too, but you're hoping that they were better. They played like the year before. They're better coached up. Aaron Glenn is a defensive-minded guy, former corner, can kind of help them as well.
Yeah. It makes sense. Like I said, that was the only one that does. The third round pick's the only one that I didn't like.
Blade, we got something happened with Primetime because this time last week he'd been bitching and moaning like, oh, this is the same old Jets, not going to work out. He's optimistic. He's smiling. Something happened.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's the draft. It's the best time of the year. We all got a chance to win it.
He's smiling. He's smiled 3 weeks on this show.
Yeah, because they actually drafted players that I like.
All right, so you're buying back in.
They'll find a way. They'll find a way to tear you down Primetime.
No,
they always do.
Blade, no.
That's why I said tonight is going to be the happiest you're going to see me probably all year, because where else could it go from here?
Up even higher.
Sneak in that wild card. That's what we're hoping. We sneak in that 7th seed.
My positivity finally broke him. He's broken now. He's seen the light. He's seen the Aaron Glenn vision now.
I can't back you up, Tyson.
Why not?
Because we know this team, man.
No, we don't know this team. It's a whole new team. New players, new coach, new staff, new kitchen staff, new sports science staff. Everything's new here.
Yeah, we haven't made the playoffs since I've been in middle school. So
the only thing the Jets still have is those cringy phone calls. It's the only thing they still have. With
those are so bad.
Oh my God, Muji's terrible too.
Are you fired up or what? And it's like monotone.
It's just
Harrison Johnson's phone call still.
Yeah.
They just hang up on him.
Terrible. So you're feeling good, Blade. You're feeling encouraged.
Yeah, I see the vision. That's what I'll say.
Perfect. Thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it. And you brought notes, man. We appreciate your notes.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Later, dude.
Good stuff, bro.
All right. Now, Blade set the tone. So if our next caller, who's actually a content creator, doesn't have notes and some detailed information, the channel's getting a strike.
What's up, Bubs?
What's going on? Thanks for having me on, guys.
What's up, man?
So,
talk to us. What are you thinking, man?
Yeah, I kind of agree with a lot of what you guys said. I really like the first 2 picks. Kind of expected it. Like if they would go Membu, you expected them to go Taylor, or vice versa, go tight end and expect them to go tackle, fill out those 2 big holes. So Like that, like the Taylor pick, got good receiving upside. In terms of that third round pick, I would have personally, I was fully on board with just hammering out the offense. Like you take a tackle, take a tight end, now get a weapon. I like Jalen Noel out of Iowa State, who is still on the board there. Houston ended up swooping him up. They got both the Iowa State guys, him and Higgins. So they're definitely loading up, obviously losing Diggs. So they're getting some help for Stroud, but good player. Like it felt like a Glenn pick in a way. Like first two picks were offense. Now Glenn kind of got his guy. You know, like you said, Tyson press corner fits into that man scheme. I just question the whole. You think then Steven's going to move the safety, and then they take Malachi Moore, which was like, okay, then you're not moving Stevens to safety, you know, and then is he going to – you would have rather take a starter then in that third round, you know, second pick of day 2 as opposed to a guy that's going to, you know, be a backup. So unless if him and Stevens are going to kind of battle it out for the number 2 in camp, maybe next to Sauce. I mean, he fits well next to Sauce, and he does. Good prospect. Like that's the thing. He's a very good prospect. It's just you had maybe other needs. You could have taken a starter there as opposed to, you know, a corner. So it was, I mean.
Well, they also lost Reed and Eccles. So, I mean, you need depth.
Yeah.
You need long-term assurance in case Stevens doesn't work out. So, I felt a little bit better after the Arian Smith pick as far as missing out on Noel in round 3.
Yeah. I could see that with, and look, he's like, he fits exactly what Glenn and them want. So I kind of see like Glenn at that point was just, you know, with the get at his guy. In terms of day 3, he's a burn. Arian Smith's just a burner, but he's got a lot to work on. That pick to me screams, and a lot of the day 3 picks, day 1, day 2 is like, okay. Even Azaria Thomas pick was like, all right. Day 3, I think they left a little meat on the bone. I would have liked to seen them take an interior defensive lineman. Blade mentioned it. CJ West out of Indiana, I thought was like the perfect piece. Even Cam Jackson out of Florida was like a big run stuffer that they could have looked at. There was a couple guys, although San Francisco stole so many Salah had his hands all over that draft. But in terms of day 3, like Arian Smith, he's got to work on so much. Connor Rogers had like a whole draft breakdown. Doesn't catch well, doesn't run routes well, not good against like press coverage. That to me is just full on faith in his coaching staff that they can get something out of him. And I get the comparison to Jameson Williams, but Jameson Williams was so much better than he was in college. And you've also heard some reports that Jameson Williams is available. So in my eyes, like if you wanted Jameson Williams, you could have probably traded that pick to get Jameson Williams potentially, as opposed to taking a guy in Arian Smith who I never even heard of the guy. And you look at all the draft grades, they had him as like a 7th round undrafted free agent. So in that spot, I like the Jalen Royals, even somebody like I believe Alec Iamano, I think fell past that pick as well at Stanford.
Back there.
I think he went to Tennessee a little bit later, but like even him, I would have preferred. You could have probably gone Smith as a UDFA. So, you know, and that could have been your project. So I didn't love that personally.
But they had to see something in him because they had him in for a visit, top 30 visit. So, you know, there's got to be something that you don't know about.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. It's a good point you mentioned. A lot of these guys that they visited, what they brought in, even some of these UDFAs, like they signed Dean Clark, who they had on a top 30 visit. And I think there might have been one other UDFA as well who they had in a top 30 visit. So there was clear that they took a lot of stock in those meetings and see something in them and bring them in. And, you know, Jefferson and Engstrand, they got some work to do. I liked Malachi Moore. I thought that was a good, you know, bounce back pick, high IQ player. Was a team captain, 4-year starter. You know, was 3-year starter under Saban, which is a pretty impressive feat, especially being a team captain under Saban. Maui Noah, I just would have preferred a defensive tackle there and then taking an edge. Like Barron, to me, I view Tyler Barron as a guy that, if he maybe replaces Clemens as that kind of early down rotational edge piece, and then you move on from Clemens, if that's kind of how that fits in, that to me is like a win for a 5th round pick. So
addition by subtraction, yeah.
Yeah, and he does some good things well. I mean, he had a pretty high pressure rate last year. I was just looking at some of the numbers the other day. Like I think his pressure rate was up by like 18%. He's got some pass rushing upside. He does suffer penalties though. He's had a good amount of false starts last year.
We're talking about pressure rates right now. This show is getting places prime time. Never in a million years I thought we'd be talking about pressure rates on here.
But yeah, it was left some meat on the bone day 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Arian Smith one got me a little bit where I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And like everybody said the same thing, drops, lots of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh
And
my
it's-
God.
You can
It's
coach
like-
it up though. You can fix it.
Lazard drops, him drops. It's just you would have just, and I get the whole burner, but to me, get your more all around, well-rounded receiver as opposed to, and then maybe find your burner. You still could have taken Arian Smith. There was no issue with taking
Yeah,
2 first-round picks. I said it last week, or two receivers rather, not first-round picks. I said it last week that I would have taken. I wanted Kyle Williams so badly at 73, and when I saw the Patriots took him, I'm like, because I really like Kyle Williams.
But you almost think that was the Jets pick. They wanted him there. They didn't want to trade
Yeah.
up from it. That's probably the pick they wanted.
And he was another one too. They had a visit with as well.
Exactly.
So, and now of course he's going to the Patriots, which sucks. And then even Nick Nash, who Blade mentioned, Nick Nash was a guy that if they could have came away with like Kyle Williams and a Nick Nash round 5, that to me would have been perfect. Playing at wide receiver from a draft perspective, and then found a burner or somebody like that, or even Kyle Williams and then Arian Smith, mix it up.
Yeah.
But
like the way the Jets handled like secondary pieces, I wish they did that at wide receiver. They had like
Yeah.
the corner, the safety, all this. I would have added another like a wide receiver. That's what I was hoping for the most.
yeah, you think they sign anybody like a Keenan Allen still out there, or you think they just roll with what they got and kind of see what happens in camp if anybody gets cut and something like that?
I'm hoping they do, but you got to figure these guys out there, like with Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, they probably want to go to a team that's probably ready to win and has a
Yeah.
legitimate quarterback. Like they want to go to like a passing offense where they can get some kind of numbers, right? We'd probably be the last option. I mean, what do you think,
Yeah.
Prime Time?
Definitely. Why would a team choose coming here right now, especially with an unproven quarterback situation, an offense that might be more predicated on ground and pound? I mean, you
could probably
go somewhere more established with a better quarterback.
You could probably lure a defensive player here, I think, maybe with Aaron Glenn's vision, saying, hey, listen, I can run
Yeah.
stuff, like guys like that. But offense may be a tougher sell, I think.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I just don't know if they'd go down that route. I feel like if they would have signed a veteran at receiver or any of those skill positions, it probably would have happened already.
But they went, they got like Josh Reynolds, guys
Yeah.
like this. And you look at Tyler Lockett, didn't make a lot of money.
No.
Robert Woods today is cheap.
Even,
A lot of these guys were cheap, dude.
even what's his face? Well, they didn't go after Tim Patrick, but what's his face? Chargers Palmer.
Oh, yeah.
Or went to
Josh
the Bills,
Palmer.
I think. Yeah, Josh Palmer. So even him would have been somebody else that's got some little bit more experience. But yeah, it was interesting with just the way they
They got
approached
3
it.
undrafted free agents. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Demir
so.
Miller was the one I was talking about out of Rutgers.
Yeah, and then they took Quentin Skinner out of Kansas. Is the
They
other
gave
one?
him some good money too, I think.
They did. Yeah, they gave a couple of them. They even gave the well, we might have our kicker. They took Caden Davis from
Yep.
Ole Miss. He's got a legit shot.
Big
What I
time.
mean, they probably move on from Zerline, so it'll be him and Carlson.
We have 4 kickers right now. We got Greg Joseph, too.
Yeah,
Gotta be Joseph.
so they got
We got 4 kickers right now.
3-man battle then for. So
But now the question, will they actually kick in practice? They can
Yeah,
actually earn their spot this year.
That's where
Yeah.
we're really going to find out if this is a different regime or not. If the
You do
special
make-
teams is actually doing special teams work in training camp, then we
Yeah.
know we're headed
If
on the
they
right
actually
path.
kick in practice, we'll be
you
all
make
right.
you make a good point too. Like even if they just practice in practice,
Right.
like there was so many times during the Sala era where I'd walk out of that training camp, I'd be like, "What just happened?" There was 2 hours and I watched
They
nothing.
do nothing.
Dude, the one practice me and Primetime went to, they didn't kick the entire day. They warmed up on the backfield.
Yeah.
They watched practice. They handed the balls to the punter. They literally did nothing the entire practice. Not
They
one
would,
freaking.
they would actually go through drills where the ball would get snapped to them and they would just spike
And
it
they
on the
wouldn't
ground.
kick
They
it.
wouldn't actually kick it.
And then you have what else? They got Morstead there as well, and he'll just be standing next to the jugs machine watching the balls go up in the air too. It's
It was
like-
the most like, wait, the kickers are doing nothing. It was
Yeah.
driving Kyle crazy. Kyle was going out of his mind. He's
Yeah.
like, I've never seen that like that before.
he'll definitely have some kicking scouting reports
Oh.
to go through this year with if they actually kick.
Let's hope
It'll
so.
be big first test for Glenn.
So, are there any free agent guys you want to sign on defensive side of the ball? Any like defensive tackles you're looking at? I know Foley's out there. Fadakasi's out there still.
Yeah, Fadakasi's out there. I don't know. I think they're personally going to just stay put and then maybe take a defense time. And I'd be on board with it. Somebody like a Fadakasi, just get a little fatter because they didn't really do that in the draft. I could also just see it being where they go, wait till camp, see what they got, and then
Yep.
evaluate it then. If they look good preseason camp and they like their rotation, who knows? Maybe they see too, like they got Leonard Taylor. Maybe Glenn sees something in him where they can elevate him a bit. So I think they're going to kind of stay put and then evaluate it at camp and see how OTAs and all that stuff go. But they're putting a lot of faith in this coaching. Like they are. If this coaching staff is good, then Arian Smith, all these guys can work out, but they've got to be.
That's why I'd rather see the young guys play anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. Just
A
develop.
lot of pressure on the coaching, man. A lot. Like defensively, I'm fine because I feel you have confidence there with the offense, man. All these young guys, it's like, oof. Like Mason Taylor. It's like, dude, make sure you have like just coach these guys up well so they can flourish.
Yeah, I totally agree. Even the defensive line coach for the Jets, Eric Washington, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So even a guy like that, if you trust the guy to develop young talent, like he was a defensive coordinator at one point. I have faith in the defensive staff, Wilkes, of course, but offensive staff, it's still that first time OC.
They lost a really good defensive line coach also, though.
White Cotton. Yeah. He's in Dallas right now, I think, or
Forget
was
where
that
he
Solomon Thomas? I know Solomon Thomas is in
Dallas. I think, yeah.
I thought maybe one other. I don't know, but yeah.
So how's your channel doing, man? Everything good? You're
It's
cranking out
going
content?
good. Yeah, it was good to get some, draft coverage. This time of year is kind of slow, so good. 7 picks? So
yeah,
covered that.
Well, you did good, man. Blade came in with notes. You came in with knowledge. So this is a good follow up call, man.
Yep, appreciate it, guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Have a good night. 2 for 2.
What's up, man? No pressure. You got back to back good calls here, so you better know your shit or you're out.
First of all, how you guys doing?
What's up, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I didn't hear. I just caught the last of Bubs there, but just wanted to get my thoughts. And I'm going to preference my opinion on the fact that probably like most Jet fans, in reality, we don't really know what any of these picks are going to be. So it can't be like, oh, this is a shitty draft, whatever. I'm not happy, like probably most Jet fans, with the day 3, day 4 picks or whatever.
Day 4.
You know what I mean? Day 3. Undrafted, whatever. Probably not too happy with that. I guess what I am happy about is definitely the Membo pick. I was leaning towards Warren at first, but I think it makes more sense to go with the offensive line. Let's at least, secure a strength. And I guess if Justin Fields doesn't work out, then we're going to hopefully have a good offensive line for the future quarterback, which is really important.
Exactly.
Think about it that way from the future perspective.
Yep.
I do like the Mason Taylor pick. I don't know much about that guy, that corner, but it sounds like he's a pretty good player. It sounds like some people had him ranked.
AZ Thomas, you mean?
Right. Some people had him ranked like, top 20 player in the draft.
Yeah, he dropped. Yep.
Saw some highlights of the Senior Bowl. He was covering that wide receiver on the Pats guy, Kyle Williams, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Locking him down in the Senior Bowl. So that was good. I guess I'm just really upset to the fact that it was like a super deep draft and we didn't take one defensive tackle at that position, which is kind of upsetting. Right. Yeah. I feel like that was a need for us. I also thought it was kind of ironic or maybe a coincidence. I don't know if you guys touched on this, how the Bills kind of leapfrogged us every
3 times.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know if you talked about that a little bit already.
Yeah. There's 2 things that always happen. The Bills jumped us, and it was always a commercial before the Jets pick. Every fucking time.
That bothered me more.
That
That shit bothered me more. Every
crazy.
single time. Every year they do that shit.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into the Arian Smith thing. Thinks everyone's talked about that enough already, right? Like, I have no idea why we took the guy. I guess he's the fastest guy in the draft. Is the reason behind that? I mean, the Chiefs did a similar thing, but it was Tyreek Hill. So,
speed kills. But it's good to have speed. If you can't catch the football, though, it's a problem. So it's
I know. I'm just nervous because we are literally one Garrett Wilson injury away from being absolutely screwed. I felt like we said this last year too, kind of, right? So it is a little scary from that perspective. I'm glad we did get the tight end though, because I think we talked about this before on other calls. Like I think Justin Fields has like an 86% completion percentage with the tight end or something crazy like that, where he had good chemistry with.
Well, you also got to figure too. You have Breece Hall coming out of the backfield. You have those guys. You have Garrett, Mason Tayller. You have Stone Smart. You have other guys you could probably use. You also have the running ability of Justin Fields too, which is going to help too. I think they can run the ball a shitload. So I see what you're saying, though. Garrett Wilson out, we're going to be in trouble, but I think there's going to be other options if you have a creative play caller. I think in the past, our play calling has been so bad. It was like, oh, we're out of this. And we had players last year, didn't use them right with Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson and everything else. So, it's
And it's very possible they just might emphasize blocking with that second wide receiver spot.
true.
We might actually see a lot of Lazard and Josh Reynolds, unfortunately.
God help us.
Well, do you think we'll sign like a Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper or something? I feel like we have to.
I would hope so, but
Yeah, I wanted Lockett. That's the guy I wanted. And
What
he
they
went
signed like $4 million or something? Nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Woods went for nothing. None of these guys, all the guys we wanted, not one of them got a big deal, dude. They're all less than like $5-6 million a year. Every one of them.
Yeah,
Crazy, which is weird. Like they're doubling down on Josh Reynolds. Was it Tyler Johnson's the other guy, right? You have him,
Yep.
and then there's also Corley. We don't know what Corley is. Maybe they have some kind of faith in him that we don't know what he is other than dropping the freaking touchdown. So
That's
it's
so bad. I can't believe
It's just
that's one play. And he
his shining moment his rookie year is dropping the ball before the end zone. Like,
I know
Christ.
that's.
I'm mad they don't still have Jason Brownlee. I liked him the last 2 years.
That's right. Where'd he go to? He went
I think the
to
Chiefs, right?
yeah.
Chiefs picked him up.
Do you blame him? You want to play a Patrick Mahomes or Justin Fields? I'm out. So what's your overall assessment of the roster right now? Do you like the direction they're heading? Do you feel a little bit encouraged or no?
I think it all comes out of coaching Justin Fields. What else does it matter? I love that the O-line's going to be sick. Hopefully, I mean, we're praying Membo's the real deal, right? Membo's the real deal. I'm assuming he is. I'm going to go off and say that he is, right? I'm going to just assume he's going to be an A-plus player for us. But I'm still in the camp, like, I think this is what's going to happen. It's either going to be 2 or 3 wins or some magic season, like they're going to have 10, 11 wins to go to the playoffs. I don't think it's going to be in between.
Come on, bro. You can't be like that. I'm like their floor is like 6 or 7.
Wait, the floor?
The floor
No,
is 6 or 7.
no.
You guys have just got to embrace happiness, man. It's gonna be not as bad as you guys think. The things are changing around here.
No, I'm getting more positive. I'm just saying, I don't think there's much in between. I think it's going to be a really shitty season, or they're going to have like a great season.
No,
I've heard some people say the ceiling is 6 or 7 wins. You're
Well,
telling me that's the floor?
they've got to just see the light now. Things are changing.
That's a bold statement there.
I'm here for it.
You think Muji was involved in those picks more? I feel like I got a better understanding of him a little bit more in this draft process. Or you think it was all Glenn, like nothing?
I think I don't know, man. I think they work together as a team to identify players they like. But I think Aaron Glenn got the final say. Like, listen, this is the guy I need for my team. I mean, don't you think prime time? Like,
Shouldn't it be your GM making the final call though, based on
should
what
be.
his head coach needs?
It should be. Do you think it's the way it is, though?
That's the way it should be.
Is it the way it is, though?
Kind of hope it is. I'd like to have like a real organizational structure for once. Unless we believe that much in Aaron Glenn's scouting ability, then maybe I don't know.
You better get off to a good start, let me tell you, because he's got a lot of pressure on him, Glenn, the way he's acted through everything so far.
Probably, I gotta jump off for 1 second. I got food in the oven. I got to get out of the oven. Hold on.
Go for it. Any undrafted free agents that you like that the Jets picked up?
I don't really know shit about it, to be honest. I'll be honest with you. I don't really pay as much attention as into that stuff. I'm kind of I'm down, man. Kevin, I'm with you. I lean more with you, man. Like
The draft didn't make you feel any better though.
not really.
No.
Did it make you?
Honestly, the first 2 picks being on the offensive side of the ball, the fact that they went needs, something that's going to help the quarterback, something that's going to help your first-time offensive coordinator, to me, that gave me a little bit of hope that maybe these guys know what they're doing. I'm not expecting like 10 wins this year.
It gave me more hope for the future because because we're Jet fans here. Are we really going to say we're going to be the franchise that turns Justin Fields around? Do you really think that's going to happen for us?
Not quite, but if that's going to happen, it's going to happen behind a brick wall on the offensive line. I think now they've established that.
Right, which I'm very
You're
happy.
giving yourself the best chance to manifest that outcome.
Right. We just need to get it. We definitely need a better wide receiver, though. You got to get Amari Cooper or somebody or like a Keenan Allen in the mix because Garrett Wilson's going to be double teamed every game.
Yep.
And is Mason Taylor fast, though? Can he get open?
He doesn't have any like
Doesn't-
freakish speed. He's kind of like more of like that security blanket underneath. Doesn't really stretch the field a whole lot from what I've seen. But again, like you put him in an NFL strength and conditioning program, like maybe in a year or 2, he is that guy. Immediately, I don't expect that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I also wanted to ask you guys quickly before I jump also, what was your guys' take on the whole Shador Sanders thing? Were you ever thinking like, okay, It's a 5th round. Would you take him? Would you want him on the Jets?
I wanted nothing to do with it just because I felt it was going to be like another kind of circus like Tebow where, there's plenty of fans that are screaming for him to play right away. It becomes an unnecessary distraction. I think that's probably part of why they got rid of Aaron Rodgers, to eliminate anything unnecessary.
I agree with you. I was same way. Even if he is a franchise quarterback, I feel like we couldn't take the chance.
And the way he fell was just weird too. It was like a universal thing throughout the entire NFL where a lot of teams chose to not go that direction when everybody wants the young quarterback. You know what I mean? So it seemed like kind of weird. I think the Jets right now aren't in the spot to take that chance. Just culture, leadership, new direction. I don't know. I
he holds on to the ball a lot too. If you watch him, all his plays were like big plays from like Travis Hunter and his receivers. They were all like check downs. He was never making that like 3rd and 10 play. He was missing it, always getting sacked. I don't know. I think he's probably not going to be good. And history shows if you're a 4th or 5th round quarterback, the chances of starting in the NFL is like super slim.
But here's a thought too. I think in order to get Justin Fields here, I think they had to make a commitment to him. Like, listen, you're our guy. You're going to start week 1. We're like, you're our guy. You go out and bring a Shador in here. It's kind of be like, dude, like,
be crazy,
right?
Yeah,
like, I'm not saying that Fields is like some superstar, but I'm like, in order to like a gentleman agreement. Listen, we're going to give you a chance to resurrect yourself here. You're our starting quarterback. Shador is an instant distraction where it's like, what are we doing here? Like, this is kind of going against, like, I don't know. It's kind of how I felt about it.
I agree. But like, what about not taking like that Ohio State quarterback or like Kyle McCord or something? You think
I had no problem with any of that. I was hoping for it.
Me too. So but I'm back to your point. You think they are I hope they're evaluating these quarterbacks in the sense like they think they all suck. And that's why we didn't take one, because I don't want to not taking one of these guys just to hurt Justin Fields' feelings or something.
That's what I hope didn't happen. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think Shador is kind of an anomaly. He's like a very name that. But other than that, like I was hoping Jalen Milroe would fall further along. But towards the end, I was like, any of those guys, McCord, I was cool with any of them. Will Howard, fine. But then you're like, maybe they have some kind of curiosity with Jordan Travis too. Like he is that project guy too. We already have in the roster that maybe he's got a chance to do something. Maybe he's healthy. We don't know. They won't literally answer any question about his health. You notice that, prime time? Every press conference they ask about Jordan Travis, they go, we don't discuss medicals. Okay, don't discuss medicals. Can he fucking play? Can he get on the practice field? How about that? Like, can you give us that answer?
Well, I mean, he threw the last medical staff under the bus, so
yeah,
that's why they're trying to stay tight-lipped here. He's like, all right, we're not saying shit.
It's true. So we'll see.
Exactly.
Well, so you're feeling good. So you're thinking it's either be a boom or bust year. You're telling me.
I think so. Because I'm leaning towards boom, though. I think like the offensive line established. I think Justin Fields can be a good quarterback. It's just going to all come down to coaching, right? That's really it. I think the defense is going to be better than expected as well. I'm sure we'll find somebody. We'll, find one of those fat guys we're all looking for, one of those D tackles, probably, getting cut from another team or something to fill a hole. What about that? Isn't like Fado Kasi around still? I love that guy.
Yep.
Get that guy.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
Yep. Talk to you guys. Thanks.
Good talking, man.
So to answer this question real quick, have I ever made out to Jones Beach for a show? I used to go to Dysfunctional Family Picnic there when K-Rock was there. And a funny story, prime time, usually when you go to concerts, you tailgate. Outdoor concert.
Of course.
Concert starts at like 2-3 o'clock. You're in the parking lot. You got your grill. You got your cooler. You got your beer. You can't drink at Jones Beach.
No.
So we're hanging out, and we beers. So these dudes woke up like, yo, bro, you got to hide that. I'm like, hide what? Like, we're 21. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, no. You got to put it in cups. You can't walk around like a beer can or a beer bottle in your hand. I'm like, dude. He's like, I'm serious. So my one buddy, after a couple cocktails, is like, dude, I'm so tired of these red cups. I want to drink out of my bottle. Go for it. No, dude, it ain't. But 2 minutes later, boom. How much was the ticket? $250?
No.
For drinking. Yeah, for drinking in the parking
That's
lot.
wild.
Yeah.
I think they do that at City Field now also.
Do they really?
I think so. The last time I was in the parking lot, somebody was telling me you got to pour it into something or else they're going to give you shit about it.
I was like, what? That's crazy. Oh, we got an SEC expert here.
Oh, here we go.
Membo is great, but needs to work on his run blocking. Taylor is a jack of all trades, a master of none. Arion can be legit if he gets hands. Just that. Malachi has elite IQ and is a thumper. Yeah, he's definitely a thumper. All right. We got a new draft analyst.
Some good insight there.
All right. So, and when we talk about boom or bust,
yeah,
we got to go to our next caller because this is, you never know what you're going to get. It could be a boom. It could be a bust. It could be something in the middle. You could be sleeping. You never know, prime time. What's up, man?
Sorry, my mind. I didn't see you prime time at the event.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't make it, man.
So, V-Man, we have to have a conversation, my friend.
Yep.
So I was talking to Jake. We discussed you.
Yeah.
And he said he was excited to see you at the draft party.
Yeah.
But your mind may have been a little bit altered. You may have been a little bit whacked out. Were you right, man? I thought you'd be in prime condition to hang out with Jake and all his subscribers.
You know,
You
the
man on
bummer-
that gangrene?
You want to know what happened? No, what happened was I forgot the draft was on a Thursday, so I forgot to schedule ahead to take the night shift off. So
Right.
literally after the draft, I had to walk all the way to work in Hudson Yards. So I just had that in the back of my head, like throwing me off. I got track of the time.
But
you know,
your
That's
mind was altered prior to that when you were in his party.
yeah. All right. Right now, my mind's somewhere else right now.
Well, where's your mind that night? Talking to us.
The football show.
I know, but okay, I'll just say it. Don't get mad at me because it's a very dangerous thing that's happening right now. There was a flood in my family's hometown in Puerto Rico, and I have no idea if my cousins are all right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so like I said, I was looking at the pictures, and like I'm looking at the pictures, like this is, and like it's bad. Like you could just see that right there. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, I stopped my car. Damn.
Yeah, so I'm like, and they're two old ladies, so you know they're not. It's not like they're in the best.
Yeah, I understand.
They're two old ladies. So I'm just thinking like, because it's the whole town is in a valley, so that water just like piles up. You know, you get a flood there. It's not.
Oh, that's terrible.
How long has it been going on for?
I don't know. It's like it's just like the flash flood warning. It was like earlier today, and it just passed. So it's like I have no idea what's going on over there.
Well, we'll try to distract your mind with some happy thoughts, and I'll give you a pass for being hammered at Jake's show and not talking to him.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, no.
Did
but
you you talk to Fireman Ed?
I had a glancing walk. I didn't get to talk to him. I literally
Wait.
I walked by him. I said, hey, I did. Hey, he said, okay. And that was literally it. That was
A glancing walk by.
yeah. I
Says
said,
hi to
hey.
everybody.
Yeah, no, I didn't have. Like I said, you know, I went there. I just sat by the bar, was watching the Knicks game while waiting for the Jets to pick. You know, and then
What were you drinking?
I just had one beer and a pulled pork sandwich.
How was the pulled pork?
Pretty good, you know.
So, what were your thoughts while you're having that pulled pork? What were your thoughts on the draft?
Well, you know, I like the Membu pick. You know, putting the final touch on that offensive line. You know, hopefully, you know, you can have a solid unit that can last. You know, for the next decade or so.
Okay.
You know, then so I was really big on that pick. You know, I didn't mind either way. You know, I know there's some people who wanted tight end there. Some people wanted offensive line. I was comfortable with either direction.
Yeah, brother.
Don't watch the chat. What do you like about Mason Taylor round 2?
Well, you know, but I like the fact that once we doubled down on offense. You know, get that tight end. You know, get a safety blanket. You know. I do like the connection, you know. You know, his dad played the season in New York. That's a nice connection.
Were you surprised they went corner round 3?
No,
No, you expected a corner.
they were gonna go defensive back. I said, you know, they're gonna do something for the defensive back.
So what are your thoughts on Thomas?
Like, I'm okay with it. You know, I would have went somewhere. I would have probably. I think maybe I would have went a safety over the corner, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. So, was there any picks you didn't like?
I don't I don't remember much after the day 2. I wasn't really paying attention for the day 3 draft.
You can't say that.
So you didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Like I
you
said,
didn't really pay attention to day 3 is what you're saying?
Well, like day 3, you gotta remember day 3 is on
Saturday.
day 3 is on Saturday. So I had a party I had the party I was going.
So there's this really cool thing called the internet. So on Sunday you could actually get the results too and check it out.
This is really enticing. In the past, that's automatic. You're out.
Well, listen, we've matured.
Well, you know what? Like I said, look. Like I said, I've really been off this whole off season. Like, I really haven't been paying attention. Like,
What are we doing here? What do you mean you haven't been paying attention?
That's why it's all off season.
So if you haven't been paying attention, you're calling into Jet shows to talk about what then?
Just felt like calling it on.
You just feel like talking shit.
He just likes talking to you, Tyson. That's why.
Shoot the shit.
I enjoy talking to you guys.
Have you been playing the guitar at all?
I've been playing the guitar, but I've been more practicing on the
It's
bass.
right there. I see it. When you call on the show and the
guitar.
guitar, no, hold on. When you call on the show and the guitar is in our sight lines, we're going to ask about it because you want to play it. I know how this goes, dude.
No, the guitar is over there. That's the
What the hell's
bass.
that thing?
Bass. Can't you
Hey,
count?
and you want to play it.
No, it's actually just here because the amp is over here. But that was just
Oh, the amp is over here, but it's plugged in and on right now.
It's not even on. Like
This is so.
it's not even on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you hear anything?
Well, turn it on. Then play something for us. Primetime wants something. He's in a good mood.
Yeah. Let's do
All
it.
right. See if I can sing right now because I'm.
Now he's gonna play a song from like 1974 we never heard of before.
Oh, all right. Hold on. I gotta plug this
Hey,
in.
give me some time now.
It's not even. I just realized it's not even fucking plugged in.
Okay, that's all right. It's just
All part of his setup.
Yeah.
How do I make it look like I wasn't prepared?
That's right. But
Yes. This is actually. If you're wondering, yes, this is actually. You're saying it's Paul McCartney's bass. Yes, this is actually a Hofner. If you're wondering.
oh, that's what I thought it was.
Nice.
Yeah. No.
Was it made in Puerto Rico?
No, it's the economy Hofner. So it's the one that's made in. It's not the one that's made in Germany. It's the one that's made in China.
Yeah, Primetime has the one that's made in Germany. He's a little more upscale.
I have my guitar over there.
Oh, Christ.
Let me see
Take
the
your time. Come together.
Yeah.
I can name that in 3 notes, Primetime. See that? I got a credit for this shit.
I was almost there.
It's just. It's,
Oh, not a bass. It's technically not a bass line, but
oh, I know this one too. Oops.
Seven Nation Army. I dig it.
See, you're doing good. See, now aren't you feeling better now? Now you're smiling again. See? Uh-oh.
What happened there?
Not really sure.
Larry, all right, Larry.
What is your record prediction for the season?
Well, like I agree with you. The floor is 6. I think the floor is 6-7. Like I'm probably in that. I'm probably in that 8 to 9 win rate. I think they'll just break over 500.
All right, that's the floor, or that's your prediction?
I think like I said, the floor. I think is you're right. 6-7 wins. I think they'll just reach that 9 win mark. They're just gonna reach it.
That's what got me.
I can't look at I can't look at the chat, dude. I can't. It's killing me. Shit. So, V man, how you? Other than that, how's life going, man? You doing good? Where your dogs at?
They're relaxing with my mother. You know, she had a busy day. She's doing jury duty, so she had a busy day and exhausted. So she's
Makes
just
sense.
relaxing with them.
All right. Well, it's good talking to you, man. Hopefully things work out for your family. Definitely with our prayers. You know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm hopefully hopefully my sister and I will be able to get through and make sure everything's all right with him because we don't maybe we don't keep in perfect touch, but it's still family. You should still
Of course.
worry about
Definitely.
Whatever happened to your tattoo? Is there any update to tattoo?
Yeah, my sister still has to get a job to be able to afford a tattoo because, like I said, she will beat the shit out of me if I get a tattoo and get it without her.
Fair enough. That is a tattoo update, prime time. Any questions you have left?
I have 0.
B-Man, have a good night. Be careful. We'll talk to you later, bro. Man, I couldn't do it, dude. You know what it was? When he comes on, I try so hard to look at the chat, but the Rice one got me. There was like back-to-back comments. I couldn't. I saw them. Like once you see them, you can't unsee them. I was done.
That's why I have my microphone in the perfect spot. It blocks out the chat.
Jake, I asked him. I literally asked him. The minute he came on, I said, "You went to Jake's party, but you were incoherent," and he denied that. He said he only had 1 beer. So he said
he had a lot on his mind.
He had a lot on his mind, and Fireman Ed walked by him and said hi, and that was it. We asked him though. The question was asked.
The walk-by greeting. From
Oh
Fireman Ed.
God, man. Yes, David Goggins has 2 of them. Yep. Jake, I swear to God, it was the first question we asked him. He was like, he was in a different state of mind. He forgot he had to work afterwards.
Didn't remember day 3.
Didn't remember day 3. Couldn't get the day 3 results. It's friggin' day 5 now, day 6. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey guys, doing pretty well. My body's objecting. I've started cardiac rehab, and
that's
my
right.
legs are like suing for separate maintenance.
Oh.
Excuse me. I'm suing for my heart's fine, but my legs are bothering. Go figure.
Well, at least
Anyhow, with the draft,
heart's
I'm
kind of
not a
important,
draft
man.
analyst. I don't know 15 guys at each position they could have signed, but looking at what they did, I mean, obviously the first and second rounds, I can't argue against. And I think even not going with Membu in the first, I realized why. I think if they'd gone with Warren, they would have been really in deep shit with the tackle. I thought there was more out there. And when I started looking, there wasn't.
They went fast.
The third round was a shock with the cornerback. The only thing I can think about that is that as part of their plan, they might be looking and saying, if Sauce has a bad year this year, if last year wasn't a fluke, and obviously, who knows, or he doesn't fit their scheme or he can't work with them, there may be insurance. That's the only thing I can think of, because otherwise it didn't quite make any sense.
Or if it doesn't work out with Stevens either, though, because like many
That's
people
the other
think that
thing.
Sauce doesn't get re-signed like in this offseason, like get a new deal. Then you keep him in the mix. Stevens is only, I think it's like a 2-year out you can get with him, or you can move Stevens to safety. There's a lot of things you can do. So I don't think it's really Sauce. It could be
It could very well be too. And the other thing is, looking at what they're doing in this draft, the other thing I kept thinking was, looking at as they made all the picks, were that they were not looking just at starters, but at backups. They're looking at depth. They're trying to play, and I think they're playing a long-term game, which is why it's not very sexy. I mean, we're used to drafts with the Jets where they're busy madly trying to win now because they've been so bad. They're trying to win now, so they're going for the bigger, or would consider the better players. A lot of these guys might be long-term. Do I understand all of them? No. The thing with Smith at wide receiver, the only thing with him, one stat that popped up when I was looking at him, he had like 800 and something yards at Georgia last year, and like almost all of it was after screen passes, which means that guy, once he's got the ball, is very hard to either tackle, or he's fast and he gets out of the way, because he must have gotten a hell of a lot of yards after the catch. If those were all screen, doesn't mean the other things aren't there, the drops, the injuries. So it's possible they saw it. I was hoping they draft the guy from, I think it was Stanford, was the guy, I forget his name.
Yep.
He ended up going a little later, but he might have been, I thought he may have been a better pick, but you go in there. The other thing that makes me, when I look at the last, you start looking at rounds 4, 5, 6, 7, it's all a crapshoot, and it becomes even more so. I mean, one GM once said you might as well use tarot cards down there, because these ratings and everything else are very subjective, as you can tell. Different draft boards, different draft ratings and stuff like that. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is, these guys, the Jets are drafting, the sense I do get, they're drafting for personality too.
100%.
You talk to these guys, they're looking for a fit. Glenn is definitely looking for a fit. They want a certain culture there and stuff. You talk about changing your culture. Well, one way you do it is you bring in players like yourself, whether through free agency or through the draft. And this may be what a lot of these are. Does it mean necessarily they're great players? I don't have the foggiest notion. I think
they're like team captains, a high work ethic guys. Now, the one thing about Smith that was interesting, it almost reminded me of Rex Ryan, where they had him in for the visit, and Aaron Glenn kind of said, like, I told you we're going to get you. I told you we're going to get you. But remember when Rex Ryan was like adamant about Quentin Coples and certain players where it's like, I promise you when you came in, we're going to pick you. The Smith thing, I don't know why it triggered me like that, though, but it kind of made me feel like they talked and he's like, you know what? You're our guy. We're gonna get you. And they did. That's the vibe. I don't know. Did you get that vibe at all or no? It seemed like
there's a little bit, yeah, but that's also a good thing, right? I mean, that's got to mean that he either did something in the interview or something that they saw on tape that really made them say, like, we're not letting you possibly fall to round 5 or round 6. We're gonna get you when we can.
That's the vibe I got.
The thing is, I mean, again, I saw the draft ratings that said he was probably a 7 or a 9, UDFA, but banking on that again in the late rounds, you never know. Somebody could jump in there. You just don't know, right? And you can see it. You can see what happens all over the place. Players drop and you say, wait a minute, why the hell did they go? I should have waited. I could have had him in the 6th round. Well, wait a minute. They were supposed to go in the 2nd round. It's
well, there's all, and you never know when there's some kind of like, all of a sudden there's like 3 or 4 getting taken. Now there's rolling. A position's like on a roll and wide receivers getting taken off the bat. Next thing you're like, oh, now he's gone. Like, you know what I mean? You can't really wait. When there's a run in the position, you want to be ahead of it and not behind it because then you're not the guy you want.
And the thing is, I mean, even though obviously, someone was talking about where the Giants took whatchamacallit Dart in the 1st round, at the end of the 1st round. And they said, well, why would they do that? Well, one reason is obviously if they think the guy's good enough, you've got a 5th-year option at that point. But the other reason is they don't know. They don't know if they really like the guy. They don't know. And the thing is, if you draft somebody in the 1st round, you draft them in the 4th or 5th round, the only real difference is there's some differences in the contracts and stuff. Obviously, it's easier to cut somebody from the 4th or 5th round. But if you do that, and it's not like it's a position you really need, and you're really interested in them, you can do that because in your mind, they're a high-ranked player.
You can make a case though. If the Jets really wanted Kyle Williams, they could have traded up to get him. They traded up to get more, right? So like, if you really wanted a guy, and that's a guy you covet, when receivers with speed were going off the market quickly, they say, you know what? Why wait those extra 4 or 5 picks? Let's go get him now. Make sure we get him. And now he went to the Patriots, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So then it's like the Bills and Patriots took Jets players a couple times, I think, in this draft, probably 3 times. So it's a fine line because you don't want to give away a lot. You need your resources to bring in players. The Jets have a lot of holes, but at the same time, that's a value that you really need on your offense. A speed guy that can actually catch, like Williams and Smith, are going to be compared now for a while by Jet fans.
Oh, of course. And it'll always be, and if he's not, immediately a success or he has his struggles or things are not, he's not immediately ripping up the field. It's going to be, if we had Kyle Williams, it would have worked better. I mean, Jets fans love to rip apart everything. Or Jets fans, we're going to only have 2 wins. This draft sucks.
Well, that is true. But in this scenario, like they were right there. Like they're both, it's not like, one player went two rounds before.
I honestly don't know why. I mean, I questioned it when it happened.
Yeah, I did.
I'm not that much of a draft maven, but I really questioned it from everything I saw. So I don't know. They must have seen something in him. And, I can't really question. The thing that also keep in mind here is people are saying, well, Moogie screwed up or whatever. The rookies, yeah. But remember, you've got Spielman in there, and he's got to be involved. I can't believe he's not. And also, you got at least one other guy that was an ex-GM. Yeah, so you've got some experience there sitting in the front office.
I understand what you're saying, and I know Spielman was in there. I think Aaron Glenn's got his hands all over this roster.
Well, obviously, don't you
think prime time based on his scouting background, all like the level of detail he breaks down every. Even when you talk about the prospect in a press conference, he's giving you like we talked to him, we know he can do this, we know he can do this, right? Prime time. This is Aaron Glenn's team, dude. It is.
The 3rd round pick makes me start to think that, but I don't know how much of a say he had in round 1 or round 2. I would hope that this is Moogie making the pick, though, off of what Aaron Glenn wants. I mean,
but if it was all Aaron Glenn, then wouldn't you expect that, like in the 1st and 2nd round, they went defense? I mean, I'm just saying that.
Why? He said he's more than defense. He knows his team is lacking talent on offense. He's going to do what's best for his team. I'm saying it's just based on the way it's playing out, the way the questions are answered in the press conference, the way the questions are being directed in the press conference. Even the reporters know to ask Aaron Glenn the questions. And I'm not asking Moogie anymore, right? I mean, am I wrong? Like that's kind of how it's going.
Well,
I'm not mad about it.
Moogie has about as much charisma as a wet sack.
But I don't even care about that. It's just I'm not saying there's a power struggle. I'm saying the way the team is developed, it's being molded in his vision, which is great. And the reason why I think it's great is because if things work out great, it's all the credit. If things work out bad, he can't be like, well, I didn't get the groceries. No, these are your groceries, dude. Like this is your team, your vision, your players, your mind.
There's a lot of truth. There's probably a lot of truth that, again, I don't know how much. But when I hear people saying, "Oh, here we go again, rookie GM, rookie head coach," it's like, guys, it's a little different. Also the fact that Glenn had a scouting background, I have to trust that there's reasons why he went for these people. This wasn't John Itzik, who was practically throwing a dart at a dartboard. He really, or listening what other people say. When you go against the grain too, sometimes you look like a spectacular, you look like a genius, and sometimes you look like a complete idiot. It could be both. We
listen. Look at all the picks in the past that we praised, like Elijah Moore. Oh my God, slam dunk, steal the draft. Like we convinced ourselves of all these things. We've been dead wrong. So we're questioning some things. We can be dead wrong here too. Like, and then furthermore, general managers are wrong all the time. Like,
of course.
So it's like it's not an exact science. They're all lottery tickets. It's like
it is all. It's lottery tickets. Sometimes you have a slam dunk. Of course, we could end up with another Becton. You never know. I don't think so. He doesn't look like it. No. But we could end up with like something like that. You never know. Guy gets hurt. It happens. In terms of the one thing was interesting, not drafting a defensive lineman, interior lineman. Yeah. And I thought about that. I was surprised. I figure at least somewhere deeper down they might have done it, or gotten somebody. And the only thing I will say that makes it a little less, how do I put it, a little less of a issue, I think, is keep in mind that Saleh based his whole defense on getting pressure with 4 guys. So you needed 4 good linemen to do it. Wilkes is going to use blitzing and stuff like that. He's not the zone. He's not the cover 2, cover 3. He's not a zone guy like Saleh was. So in that kind of scheme, the defensive lineman might be a little less of a priority. It doesn't mean they don't need one, because obviously run stopping becomes a problem. But again, they can hope that the linebackers will help with that. There's a lot of things they could be thinking on that. I'm not saying it necessarily would I do it. No, I would have pulled the defensive lineman. I probably, if I really thought had that much need, I would have done it like in the 4th spot. I would have probably pulled the defensive lineman.
Yeah. I also wonder if the rotation is going to be as heavy this year on the D-line.
I don't think so. That's the other thing that they're going to be. Not everybody uses Saleh's rotation scheme. Saleh needed a lot of DLs and stuff because he did rotations. Wilkes is not going to do that. Based on what I've seen of him, players are going to play a lot of snaps. So they're going to be looking at players that are also able to handle it, that are able to handle being in there, 80% of the snaps or whatever the hell it is. That's my guess. And, it was an interesting draft. Like I said, people asked me to rate it. I said, you can't rate it until it gets on the field, honestly, until you've got a couple of years. I think they're building blocks. I didn't expect this to be a win now year. I really didn't. I expected them to try to build pieces. They're testing Fields out. They've now given them at least an offensive line. They've got the running backs. Do they have the receivers? Sort of. Not really. You got one receiver and a couple, and you hope Smith may come around or whatever.
Yeah, but if you have Mason Taylor, Garrett Wilson, and Brees, there's only so many balls that can go around, and you'll be running the ball a shitload too. So it's like there's serviceable parts as long as you have a very creative scheme. The mobility Justin Fields can help. Like I think there's enough to be successful. They can compete with the roster they have now, but you just want to have more talent. Like upgrade from I think Lazard is not very good. I think we all think that. No. It's very mediocre.
They need at least one more receiver to step up.
Yeah, right.
Whether that's Corley or if it's Smith.
They still may sign a free agent. They may pick somebody up that gets cut. Who knows? But again, it's not a win now year. I don't think, even though he says we're going to be competitive, hopefully we are. I don't want to see a 1-17, a 1-16 year. I don't want to see a horrible year. We've seen that before, but they had enough holes. They're also still trying, as you point out, Tyson, they're still trying to figure out who that they have on the roster that came from the prior administration.
Exactly right.
They want. They're still figuring out. They really haven't had a chance. They haven't had him in camp. They can look at film, but that only tells you a certain amount. So it's going to be a question. That's one of the reasons, like I said, with the cornerback position, they might be feeling like, Sauce, they may end up saying, this guy is not going to fit us and try to trade him or something. I'm not saying they will, but they could.
I think over the next 2-3 months, you have the mandatory mini camp, you have the voluntary camps. You get in the training camp and you say, okay, who's committed to this team? Who's in shape? Who studied their film? Who did the weight work? Who did, did all this? And then you get in August, all right, they bought in or they didn't buy in. If you didn't buy in, they could be gone. And then you start kind of tinkering, and you also see how they actually play on the field. Like you saw this on tape. They don't fit in our scheme on offense or defense. Remember when Parcells came over? They wiped out a lot of guys. You're like, what the hell? This guy's a good player. Gone. Nope, didn't fit.
Yep.
All right.
Didn't fit. And the other thing people are expecting, they're almost expecting like a Washington where one draft and all of a sudden they're winning, but they're leaving out that Washington had a good, decent team
They had
other
Jaden
than a
Daniels.
quarterback. They got Jaden Daniels, who's like, forget it.
Yep.
And that's it,
But don't you think though, with the way if you play, that's prime time. If you play very good defense and you could run the ball and wipe out all the bad penalties last year, you could be in every game. That's the NFL.
That's the thing. That's the thing I'm looking for. I'm not.
And that's an improvement though. 'Cause we haven't seen that.
Oh yeah,
That's
of
the only
course.
thing that gives me hope.
Look, we want to
Control time of possession. You run the football, play good defense. You
Good
compete
special
every game.
teams.
And you hope, you hope it's close. You hope it's competitive. It's not so much for me the record, although I don't want to see us go 1-16.
Be well coached.
And you want to see, that's the other thing. We're depending. You hit the nail on the head. You said they're obviously depending on coaching a
They
lot
are. A lot.
to set the tone, to set the scheme. And you know what? That's a good thing. That gave me, when I see that, I know that they've got some idea what they want to do, and they're emphasizing it. And they're not going to have with Salah where he didn't know what his fucking coaches were doing.
Well, but it's a good thing as long as they can do it. You have a lot of first time head coaches. That's like first time position coaches. Angstrand, Steve Hyden.
Yeah.
Makes it
We got to hope. I mean, again, to me, that was problematic.
That's our next
even
shirt.
when
We
the
gotta
analysis-
hope.
Gotta hope.
You got to hope, but you know what? I see some idea of a plan here, a scheme. They're definitely looking for players based on what they want, what their idea of things are. In the past, a lot of times I never got that feeling. McCagnon would draft best player available, and it's like, does he even fit? Is he even a character fit for the team? Who knows?
They were
Do the
characters.
Jets even have a character under Salah? That's a really good question too. I mean, there's all these things going on there.
I feel like every year we say we get like all the team captains, and it never means more.
We try. I mean, and again, I'm not expecting instant miracles here. The one thing I'm happy about that the Jets didn't go after Sanders. There's a funny story about him. I got a friend he's a retired sports journalist. He's still got ties to the Giants. He's a big Giants fan. He's got ties to them. And what he heard coming out, and it matches some of the printed things, that Sanders went in with Dable because they were interested in him.
Yep, they
And
were.
Dable threw a scenario at him, and Sanders totally either didn't know or blew it off or whatever, or couldn't come up with an answer. You know how Gruden usually gives people interviews, ask him about what would you do in this situation and stuff. He probably did something like that, and Sanders was kind of got pissed off at him that he asked him that, and then Dable said, "Well, why can't you answer that? It should be a basic thing. You're a quarterback. That should be what would you do there? It's not. All it would take is a little research into this." Or have him come in. He knew he wasn't prepared. And Dable basically said, I don't know if he yelled at him, but it was pretty close to it. And Sanders got all offended and he started playing. And he basically, the story is that he went into interviews thinking that he was a slam dunk top 10. He was the prince. And I'm interviewing you. You're not interviewing me. Because one of the things that shocked me was the Raiders. And then there's now stories saying,
even the Browns. The Browns made no sense taking Dylan Gabriel. That makes no sense at all.
Well, did you see? Yeah, but that's the joke. Did you see the Cleveland War Room when they picked Sanders?
Yeah,
everybody looked like they were about as happy. I've seen guys go to the electric chair that looked happier. I mean, it's like,
but it's just, it was definitely something happened because we were talking about this before.
Haslam, another rumor was that Haslam told him to hire him to get him. That the owner stepped in.
Better the Browns than the Jets, man. I'm completely happy.
I'm glad about it. I'm just glad of the whole thing. And it's like you got to be hopeful. And I have one thing to close with. When I was growing up, I had an Alfa Spider convertible, Alfa Romeo Spider. They're known for not being very reliable. And the guy on Top Gear once said something like, Alfa owners sit there waiting for that 1.5 hour when the car runs perfectly and it's pure bliss, and they spend the rest of the time waiting for it to happen again. That's being a New York Jets fan. Now I know I am a Jets fan. It was like, I love that car. I like the Jets. It's the same thing.
Have a good night, man. Thanks for calling in.
Have a good one.
Good stuff. Have a good night.
Yeah, the Shador stuff's crazy, man. It's just, I kind of in my world kind of think it's like that, where he was kind of overconfident, like I'm going top 5 no matter what. I could say and do whatever I want, and I'll be fine with it. And the NFL doesn't work like that, man. They're just.
I never thought he should have been a top 15 pick, but I never imagined him sliding past round 2, round 3 like that. I mean, he had to seriously fuck up in some of those interviews.
I'll tell you what, though, I love the John Gruden series when he works the quarterbacks. I could watch that shit all day long.
Yep.
And then of course, like the quarterbacks I like always go like whether he went to Riley Leonard with the Colts, I think. All the quarterbacks I like went to teams in the AFC. I'm like, come on.
He didn't do one with Brady Cook? Yeah, check for that.
I don't think you
Yeah.
did. They were good though. The one with Jackson Dart's funny. But it's so
Yeah.
like he's so passionate and so animated about it. It's like just so cool to watch. So I like this. I like this new primetime. Like the happy, positive energy. You're slowly buying in.
1 week only. I told you.
No, the Knicks will be in round 2 next week. You'd be more excited then.
Well, yeah, if the Knicks keep it going, if the Mets keep playing well, then I'll try to keep the good vibes for
So
another week.
I can get you almost like mandatory mini camp. We can almost make it that far.
That's what, another month?
Yeah, it's June.
Something's bound to happen by then.
We'll sign somebody, even give you more confidence.
Or they trade Brees Hall or do some shit.
The Mets have made primetime. I wonder how he felt about that Juan Soto's play
Which one?
yesterday.
What about it? We're fine.
Oh, this is the
We got
question.
20 wins. We're good.
So now you're buying back in.
That is not happening. Too many years of wasting tickets. No, that's not happening this year. I'll go to some games if the tickets are cheap enough. But
Got to go to home opener, dude. The home opener's the best.
the
game
home
of the
opener, I'll be there, and then beyond that, yeah, they have to earn my trust back to get back in after that.
year. How's your tattoo healing?
Feeling good. It was peeling a little bit over the weekend, but
That's,
Doing
don't
better
don't,
now.
don't pick it off though. Let it fall
No, I don't.
naturally.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we made it. An hour and a half. A lot of positivity. I'm shocked by you, dude. I am so happy that you finally seen the Justin Fields light.
Well,
You've seen
'cause,
my
look,
Aaron
we're
Glenn
here
vision.
tonight to react to the draft, and I felt like the Jets had a positive draft. So
I got so many messages today. How do you think primetime's going to be? I'm like, I have no idea. I'm like, maybe he's happy. I don't know. It's a draft. Like, I'm like, and either way, we can both be wrong or both be right. We have no idea. You got to let it play out. Like what we think is a slam dunk could be a complete bust. We have no idea.
exactly. That's why I try not to overreact too much. But when they actually get the players that you do a little bit of research on, you think could actually be good fits, feels a little better.
And that's why when somebody asks you for a grade, you're like, oh, B-, because B- is safe. You can't get anything wrong at B-. It means it's good, but not great. It's like, it's perfect.
That's what I got most of my life. Yeah. Good B- student.
So thank you guys for joining us. Definitely appreciate it. Oh, hold on. Primetime finally got the Sam Darnold portrait on his chest.
Not yet.
Oh,
Still
boy.
have not done that yet. When he makes his comeback to the Jets,
Oh,
then I'll
God.
do
In 10 years. It's like his last year.
Imagine. Signs a 1-day contract.
Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. Be back next week with a happy prime time. Talk to you guys later.
Later.